mouse sliding there. Sorry, go ahead.
And here we are in the game in the top right-hand corner. From Team TSL has scored up 2 victories for his team. And now he's going to see if he can get a third. He is Ragnarok. And called out in order to take down the Tyrant in the bottom left from Team Root. In the purple, ladies and gentlemen, it is Masa. And Antigua Shipyard, a pretty good map here for a Terran to go up against a Zerg.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a go-to map for a while. Could be one even that disappears from the map pool soon. I think looking to make some pretty big map pool changes in just a bit too. So
yeah, have you seen they're moving in those 2 Heart of the Swarm maps?
Yeah.
Yeah, and as much as I'm not the biggest fan of the HOTS maps, I like the 2 that they put in.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how they play out on Wings of Liberty as opposed to Heart of the Swarm too. And on top of that, they're also getting rid of Tal'Darim Altar and Jakura's Plateau, and that makes me happy.
God, yeah. Like I've had those vetoed for so long, I forgot that they were still in the map pool.
Well, Masa's putting a barracks behind his mineral line, but that's nothing too out of the ordinary. It really all depends on what the follow-up's going to be. We'll see Ragnarok gets in there and actually checks that out.
And, all right, so talking a little bit about this map, we mentioned it's good for Terran and whatnot, but it's tough for Zergs to grab a 4th on this map in so many circumstances. Drop play is just, like, invaluable, because you've kind of got these, they're like pods, in the top left you got, like, the League of Legends pod, in the top right you got the StarCraft 2 pod. Really, guys, it's not easy for, say Ragnarok takes that the bottom right expansion here, the one below his main base. What are you seeing, Kev?
No, I'm just seeing if he picks up on this barracks, and he hasn't yet, actually. He sees that SCV running from around the side, though, and now he sees it. Okay, so he knows nothing weird is up, but if you notice, that did prompt him to put down, I believe, a 15 pool after this, so maybe a little bit earlier than he wanted to. Ragnarok could have been going for that, 17 gas, 17 pool afterwards, just to remain ultra-economic, but unfortunately for him, he's not able to do that now.
Do you actually remember when, no Terrans hid their barracks pretty much ever, and except Boxer? Yeah. Boxer was always hiding his, and he was just, and everybody else refused it. He was like, look, it doesn't make sense not to just move it somewhere.
Right.
And everybody eventually has now started doing this. I mean, it's pretty rare. You do see them, put in standard places, but you very often see them not anymore as well.
And looks like Ragnarok is going to transfer his drones in. Whoa! Pulls them all off to the side. That's going to force a cancel on this bunker. Of course, Masa wasn't trying to get too much done here. Cancels it. Moves away, waiting for this. Whoa! Wait, what happened there?
That messed up. Oh, that was such a cool idea, but actually what was happening is that was crazy. So the SCVs were on auto repair, right?
Uh-huh.
And as the Zerglings chased us away, I actually want to say what just happened there. He had the complete surround, but because the one began to repair the other, it suddenly became a non-priority target unit. And so all the drones left it and tried to get in and attack the other one instead, and so they were both able to escape.
That's pretty awesome. But unfortunately, his follow-up wasn't as successful as he would have liked, and he just lost a couple of Marines. So, very cool stuff there at the beginning, but we'll see if, as you can see everyone in there. I find it funny that Revival's tag is being used right now. Of course, he is a member of Evil Geniuses, but... All right, well, let's see here what... what Masa's going to do now. He has decided to double expand out of this. He's got double gas down afterwards, but of course, not going to have that many units on the field for a while.
Yeah, and Ragnarok, conversely, has a few too many. Not going to be able to get too much done with these. We'll just see if he goes for those back rocks or not. That's always a possibility, I know, is... a thing I do want to say I like a lot about HOTS, they've got those 500 hit point destructible rocks that kind of close off pathways. Well,
the collapsible rocks?
Close off pathways. Oh, thank you. Yeah,
yes.
Collapsible rocks.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've played around with those for a bit.
Yeah, I like that feature. Really, it gives. I guess it gives players something to do with your units instead of just leave them at home. So here we are now with Masa actually going for 2 very fast command centers.
Yes, and already has a ton of workers built up. Finally needs to put down that third base here. Now, we haven't seen a third base quite yet. Okay, it looks like Ragnarok going to put that down right now, just as we say that, of course. And pretty good time for that, as he has decided to just single gas. No, he is double gassing back at home.
Splitting one up. And this is kind of cool because it doesn't really tell... it's always interesting. So, I mean, if you go for 2 at the natural, your opponent doesn't know if you're on 2, 3, or 4. If you go for 1 and 1, they don't know if you're on 3 or if you're on 2, or if you're on 1 even.
Yeah.
This late 1's kind of just unnecessary, but hey, with a quick third, it does make it a little viable, I guess. So
yeah.
But they're different combinations. So there's actually like, I'd be really interested to like permutate which, in what scenarios it would be best to grab like 1 at your natural and 1 in your main. Because as I said, the difference is 1, 2, or 3, not 2, 3, or 4.
Interesting. Well,
as opposed to both at your natural.
Right. And we've seen a lot of players that have decided to go for weird gas placements just to be able to throw their opponents off and stuff like that. Hyun was kind of the pioneer of that, the first one to really start dropping down both gas at his natural. But afterwards, a lot of Zerg players have taken that up. Masa going to move out on the map now with a couple of Hellions. Of course, not really making a few Hellions behind this, yes, but already going into Biomech. Not deciding to go with the typical Banshees afterwards or some sort of a Hellion Banshee attack.
Yeah, I mean, the Banshee play would be somewhat ineffective at this point. A lot of times you go for denying the third base with that Banshee, and it's just down so quickly here for Ragnarok, and his creep spread is really, really good, so you wouldn't get too much done with that. I like this decision. Now,
Ragnarok has pretty darn good vision of what Masa's doing. We just saw there, he sees the 3 barracks already, he sees the factory, so he knows that this is a very strong bio play coming out of his opponent, and he can plan appropriately. So the Baneling Nest is on the way now. He hasn't bothered, I don't believe, to throw down any sort of a Roach Warren, as it's not terribly necessary at this stage of the game, and he can just start to go straight for layering up into Spire here in just a bit.
It's just important to make sure you get that Baneling Nest, because you don't want to die to an SCV Marine Hellion all in.
Oh, yeah.
So a couple of Banelings can make sure that that's not even a possibility, and it only costs you 150, so it's pretty easy. Now we've got the Lair going down, actually, for Ragnarok at this stage, and 1-1 on the way. So he is going to be... His 1-1 is a little bit too slow to go for like an immediate 2-2, so do expect Infestors or a quick Spire once that lair completes.
Yep. Now, as you can see back on Masa's side, he's actually going for ridiculous bio production. He's already got 3 command centers done, yes, but look at this. 7 barracks in total already. Getting that reactor starport up now too, and he'll certainly start to need the other gas to be able to take advantage of all the production he has. But let's see here now as, Drewby pointing out that he did indeed forget speed.
Yeah.
Ooh, that actually, there we go, starting it right now, and that could be a pretty big issue in this attack.
Well, this is where he needs a couple of Zerglings on the field so that he can already make his Banelings, but instead he's going to have to, okay, he already actually has a bunch of Banelings, and in this situation, well, Stim is going to make these Marines really, really potent.
Okay, nice job clearing up a few of the creep tumors up at the front. Now just the Hellions are running forward after these units had already stimmed up. In fact, they have to run away. That's almost permanent damage because there are no medevacs out quite yet.
Well, while not the slow link king, Ragnarok doing a good job holding that push off. His speed was actually... you see players, and I used to do this actually a lot because I saw how it can be really, really good. You can go for 1-1 and time your speed to finish at the same time. You can get really fast 1-1 that way, You kind of you start your speed 50 seconds later. But in that situation, Ragnarok's speed is like really late, so it was definitely a forgetful moment for him. But hey, you know what? Now he's going to go for Spire, and it's looking like all's good on his end.
Well, let's see here. As Ragnarok did decide to, that Spire's about halfway done now. We'll see what he wants to follow this up with. Taking that base down to the bottom right-hand corner that we were talking about before, the one that's directly underneath his main. So he is going to start expanding across the map while still doing a nice job with his excess queens and spreading creep, even though he lost a little bit before. You can see how many active creep tumors he has and how quickly that he's actually going to be able to continue that forward.
Yeah, you're definitely spot on with that. And the reason we see players, by the way, a drop going down at this base, but Ragnarok is going to be privy to it. And then Zerglings.
Ooh.
That was really messy.
Oh, wow. That did not work at all. This is going to be, maybe not a dead hatchery here, but it's going to be very close. He gets it, forces the cancel, and doesn't lose a single Marine. Masa picking up great control on his part. Very sloppy play from Ragnarok.
It was. This is looking really, really good for Team Root right now, as Masa is going to be cleaning up quite a number of Zerglings here.
Yeah, may even be able to get the last couple, and indeed he is trying to go for this again, and oh man, just feeding these Zerglings into a grinder.
I liked the feeding there.
Yeah. He is, though. They were just
really
like lambs to the slaughter.
Those 8 Marines. I really want to see the kills on those last 2. It's Gotta be really high. All right. So, what we're... Zerg looks ahead. What I was saying before that, expansion down the bottom right, guys, you know, it's a little bit tougher for players to go for the drop play because, you know, your production is all out of your main base, and it's definitely further from your main, from this top left base. And at the same time, you can come in with these dual prongs where now we've got Masa. He's coming in with the drop at that third base. He does need to deal with these mutas, however, but keep an eye on that third as some damage could definitely be done.
Is anything in position? Looks like the Queen is actually pretty far away. Everything's starting to cycle back now, so Ragnarok will take a little bit of damage, but hopefully be able to clean that up. And he just needs to circle some Zerglings around the side, and indeed is doing that. So a couple more drones going down, but not the biggest deal. Only 9 have actually fallen in this game. So Masa's killed a little bit, but his opponent had over-droned quite to a large degree, so he's still sitting on 87 after that harassment is done.
All right, so we've got 2-2 nearing completion here. That is some crazy creep spread. Got to agree, man.
Those are creep tumors. Anyway, even if there's a scan, I don't think you'd be able to pick them off in time. Okay, so 22 Banelings morphing in right now. This is a pretty large force that's pushing out for Masa, though, and the tanks are actually sitting at the back.
Oh my
He's only producing 1 tank at a time, so there's actually not that many around, but the Banelings are being focused out by those tanks really, really efficiently. Nice job on part of those siege tanks there.
Yeah, that was phenomenal for Masa, who just cleaned up an incredibly large number of Banelings. That was, I mean, you're looking at the supply and you're like, oh, it's pretty even right now. The amount of gas that Masa just lost, Ragnarok, and Masa lost 2 tanks.
Yeah.
That's how much gas Masa lost. 2 tanks. That's it. He is looking in a really, really good position.
Ooh, and those Mutalisks are actually being picked off too. Looks like Masa's going to swing in and try and deny this hatchery, and looks like he is going to get it, but the Banelings are rolling in from behind. Will he be able to kill this in time? No, actually pulls back so that he can save more of his units while setting up his siege tanks around the side to be able to section these units apart.
And the medevac is going to get picked off with only 1 left Marine. But the Banelings coming forward, getting some very nice clumps of Marines there.
Yeah, but, you know, Ragnarok, he's not trading the most efficiently right now. And yes, he has a lot of excess minerals and excess resources to be able to put into units here. Oh, but he loses a base, and he's going to find a very difficult time to reproduce his army now with the limited production.
Yeah, you said it, you know, he wasn't trading most efficiently, but his one earlier was.
That's just it.
And there it is. Well, Ragnarok has no direction from here. He had no tech. He had no options. He just finished his infestation pit. And at the same time, you had Masa going for 3-3. So
yeah,
I mean, it was really just a timer there for Ragnarok until he probably died. 2-1 now.
Yeah.
Nice job, Masa.
Very cool stuff. And up next for TSL is actually not going to be a Zerg player. It's going to be Value coming in. So a Protoss player to face off against Masa. We're going to run to a commercial break, and when we get back, guys, it'll be time for game number 4. We'll see if Root can tie things up against TSL.